Merhaba, ben Aydın Şahinalp. Gazetecilikte ve Amerika Birleşik Devletleri'nde brokerlıkta geçirdiğim yıllar boyunca savaşlar, ekonomik krizler, siyasi kırılmalar ve ilginç insan hikayeleri gördüm. Bu podcast'te kimine göre hiçbir şey olan ama aslında çok şey anlatan olayları konuşacağız. Hoş geldiniz. Burası hiçbir şey hakkında çok şey. Aleksandr Dugin, 64 yaşında. 19. yüzyıl Çarlık Sarayı'nda önemli bir etkiye sahip olan Grigori Yefimovich Rasputin'i andıran uzun sakalıyla dikkat çekiyor. Kimileri onun için Putin'in beyni derken, kimileri de Rus dış politikasının mimarı diyor. Türk halkı ise Profesör Aleksandr Dugin'in ismini ilk olarak krizi sonrasında, ardından da darbe girişimi ve Rusya'nın Ankara Büyükelçisi Andrei Karlov suikasti ile sıkça duydu. Dugin ile 2018 yılında Antalya'da çok özel bir röportaj gerçekleştirmiştim. İlk kez Dugin ekonomi konuşmuştu ve Rusya'nın Trump'ın seçildiği seçimlere müdahalesi olup olmadığını direkt sormuştum. Biraz kaçamak cevap verse de Rusya'nın ABD seçimlerine müdahale edip etmediğine dair Dugin önemli açıklamalarda bulunmuştu. Özellikle yeni para birimi yakında feasible olacak demişti. Yani buradaki kastı yükselen Avrasya para birimi projesinin yakın zamanda hayata geçebileceğini bizzat söylemişti. Kazakistan özellikle o dönemde çok kutuplu para birimi vizyonunu duyurmuştu. Avrasya İslami para birimi gibi konular görüşüyordu. Çin cephesinde de altın yuan projesi mevcuttu. Petrol ve doğalgaz ticaretinde ABD doları kullanımından vazgeçmek zorundayız diye böyle altını çize söylüyordu. Rusya, İran, Türkiye 3 ülkenin ABD'deki altınlarını çekerek yeni bir para birimi oluşturması gerektiğinin altını çizmişti. Bunun yakın bir gelecekte de feasible olacağını söylemişti. Hemen de ekledi, ben bir jeopolitikçiyim ama bu konuda kesin bir tarih veremem demişti. Şimdi geldiğimiz süreçte yani ikinci Trump döneminde yani friendshoring adı altında ülkeler birbirine yakınlaşmaya başladı ve aslında bu tekrar gündeme gelecek. Nitekim Putin'in de bu doğrultuda açıklamaları var. Yani dolarizasyondan kaçınması gerektiğini, dolara yatırım yapanların cezalandırılabileceğini, yani sistem tarafından cezalandırılabileceğini dile getirmeye başladı. Dolayısıyla Avrasya para birimi üzerinde uzun bir zamandır konuşuluyor. Bu da tekrar gündeme geldi. 2018 tarihinde Cumhurbaşkanımız Recep Tayyip Erdoğan'ın da altınla borçlanma önerisine piyasadan iyi bir sistem dizayn edilirse olabilir yanıtı gelmişti. Tabii bir de o dönemde önemli olan şey Amerikan yaptırımlarıydı. Özellikle Rusya ve Çin'e karşı Trump'ın ilk döneminde. Amerika Birleşik Devletleri Trump yönetiminde Çin'i çelik ile Rusya'yı da alüminyum silahıyla vurmuştu. Beyaz Saray yaptırım hamlelerinde yumuşayabilir mi şeklinde bir soru yönelttiğimde Dugin bunun kesinlikle olmayacağını vurgulamıştı. Nitekim de gelinen süreçte Dugin'in öngörüsünün ortaya çıktığını görüyoruz. Amerika hiçbir şekilde yumuşamadı, hatta daha da sertleşti. Bütün dünyaya karşı ticaret duvarlarını yükseltip elindeki vergiyi yani ticari vergileri kullanmayı, koruma silahını kullanmayı tercih etti. Dugin bunu 2018 yılında bizzat yaptığımız röportajda söylemişti. Siyasi analist olan Dugin aynı zamanda Amerika'nın yumuşamayacağını savunurken eklemişti. Sanırım ABD yaptırımları konusunda yumuşayamaz. mantıksal olarak baskı uyguluyorsanız sonuçlarını görmelisiniz. Ve sonuçlar bekledikleri gibi değil demişti. Ayrıca yaptırımların ne Rusya'yı ne de Çin'i yıldırabileceğini söylemişti. Ben özellikle Amerikan seçimlerine Rusya'nın müdahalesi olup olmadığını sormuştum. Dugin burayı biraz böyle kaçamak cevaplamıştı. Ancak Aleksandr Dugin Steve Bannon hakkında çok önemli, çok ciddi açıklamalar yapmıştı. Bannon'ın Amerikan siyaset tarihindeki en önemli simalardan biri olduğunu belirtmişti. Ve şunu söylemişti. Bazı yayın organları benzerliklerimizi öne çıkararak Bannon ve beni karşılaştırıyor demişti. Bannon'a çok değer veriyorum çünkü Bannon ABD'deki Trump'ın seçim zaferinin mimarıydı demişti. Nonkonformist seçmen ve geleneksel siyasi parti yapısının dışında hamleler yaptı. Trump'ın ideolojik başarısında kilit rol oynadı. Bannon'ın devrim potansiyeli bulunuyor çünkü korkusuz birisi. Bannon son olarak İtalya'yı ziyaret etti. Aramızda hiç temas olmadı ama onunla elbette yüz yüze görüşmek isterim diye röportajı önemli kısımlarını bitirmişti. Şimdi röportajın 2018 tarihinde yaptığım mülakatın İngilizce olan bütün metnini yayınlıyorum. İyi dinlemeler. Abone olmayı lütfen unutmayınız. US is using, the sanctions very aggressively, right? And first, with the Trump administration, and they get the power, they hit China with steel, and then they hit Russia with aluminium. All right, I know you are a political analyst, but for what's gonna come next? What do you think? They are gonna be more aggressive as far as U.S.-Russia relations or U.S.-China relations goes. What's your take on that?
I think that they could not relax. Logically, if they make pressure, they should see the results. And results are not what they expected for. So, because the results is consolidation and mobilization of Russian economy. Because from the 90s, that was a kind of liberal economic system adjusted by Putin in the beginning of the 2000s. But that was the same pattern, the same liberal situation. And making a pressure against this market-orientated Russian economy, they provoke us and China to more concentrate on the industry, on a kind of autonomy. But autonomy in the modern situation is impossible to achieve without integration. If they refuse to accept us in the global integration, they push us towards regional integration, Eurasian, Chinese, Russian, Pakistan. So we are obliged to, by these sanctions, to think differently in economy. Mm-hmm. So more they make pressure, more they help us to create alternative situation, alternative zones of prosperity, of cooperation, and so on. So, for example, I am partisan of regional integration, and I'm in opposition to the global integration. Global integration is unjust, but in the regional aspect, for example, African integration or Eurasian integration, that quite opposite. That is new challenge, new possibilities. So I think they push us in the situation, thinking they are punishing us, they are saving us, and let them continue with their sanctions. Because in case of Russia, in case of China, they could not suffocate us, strangle us. They could not simply, because we have the other option. Maybe we will not deal with them, but there is Chinese billion, there is Indian more than billion population, new markets. There is Turkey, there is Iran, there is Pakistan, there is Africa, there is Latin America. So if they isolate more themselves, now it appears, it looks like they are trying to isolate us. But if we will stay with China, with our maybe today rare allies, but little by little staying there, we will show the example. We are not Northern Korea with ideological narrow attitude, and we are not local. We are global by our dimension of Russia and by dimension of our culture, of our history. So we will find a way. Eurasianism is the way. More the West anthropologists sanction us, more we become Eurasianists. So they are playing our game finally and trying to punish us. They bring the end closer. They insist on their system. We resist. If we can stay in the future, if we will be able to stay in the future, to stand against that, or that will be new world we are fighting for. Multipolar with currency, with regional currency, regional integration, because there is always asymmetric possibility. If you close one way, the economy, the culture, the industry searches the other way out. So and we didn't exhaust every possibility.
Earlier, when I asked you the Eurasia currency deal, you were very hopeful.
Yes.
It's not utopic, right? It's going to happen maybe in coming up 5 years.
Yes, because the projects were elaborated. 10 years ago of something. This was as well President of Kazakhstan proposed his vision of multipolar currency politics with Eurasian currency, with Islamic currency and so on. So golden yuan concept of Chinese. So and we are obliged to get out from dollars in trade of oil and gas. After that, for example, ourselves with Iran and Turkey taking all the gold from United States, we are preparing something like that, the new currency, or Erdogan appeal to give up dollars for population. There are signs that we are going to Eurasian currency, kind of Eurasian currency. So it could be feasible in some years. But
can you give some, maybe 5 years, 10 years? What would you say?
I am always wrong in the dates predictions. I'm geopoliticians. I'm absolutely sure that something will happen, and I know where, but and I know why and what will follow, but I could never predict when, because geopoliticians we are friends of space.
Right.
The space is a kind of eternity where we strongly believe in the eternity of identity or the meaning, but the time is not our element, preferable. It is not preferred element. It is something that avoids us. So when I try to say in 3 years, I making mistake for it could arrive in 3 days or in 30 years, but it arrives nevertheless. What is interesting, I was absolutely sure that Crimea and the eastern part of Ukraine will be in the Eurasian context from the appearance of Ukraine from 1901. It took 30 years. But and I've described why and how and where, but I suppose that will be in 1 year, in 2 years, in 10 years. After 20 years, everybody forgotten about such things as impossible, as completely, and after that, it has arrived. So I'm trying to be very careful about timing. Timing is not the sphere that I'm competent in, so I could recognize it. But I am absolutely say that something will happen, and the meaning. And where and the place, because the place does matter. The place, it is something very important because the place, geography is the destiny.
Yuan dominated oil, it's in the game right now. Russia is planning to use ruble-dominated oil in the future.
By ruble. Yes, ruble. I think that is a kind of Eurasian ruble could play the role of this Eurasian currency, but not only oil. Oil, it is crude.
Natural gas, maybe.
Gas, oil, all that could be a kind of transitional basis of the currency. When we need to evaluate the other things: air, water, space, history, intellectual capacities, because
maybe spiritual robots.
Maybe not so much robots. So we need to re-evaluate, rethink what is richness, the concepts. Because, for example, all the DGP calculations are based in different countries,
right,
based on the index of satisfaction of the citizens. They include in that many things that are not tangible economically. So it might be that the tricks, but we need not to repeat the tricks or imagine new tricks. But we need to broaden the concept what is richness and what is good, because the good, the concept of good in material thing as well, it is good as moral thing. There is not casual coincidence of the name, because that was projection on something that is morally good on the material reality that was made in the Protestant with development of Protestantism and capitalist ethics. So the good, moral good, was projected on the material good, and that was the object. But finally, we could make the return to come if something is good. In Russia, there is not such possible play of words, maybe in Turkish as well. But that is very good illustration. We could take the good to the original meaning. The good is moral quality or spiritual quality or ethic or aesthetic quality. And our writer, Fyodor Dostoevsky, has said, the beauty will save the world. The beauty. So this shift from material utility toward aesthetic beauty, aesthetic artists and moral and spiritual and mystical beauty, it is alternative currency. So we need to make a shift from material civilization to the spiritual civilization and reevaluate the values, because the old values, globalist values, material values, technological, only technical values, it is alienation of the human nature. And the robots are logical result of this alienation. They are nothing new. We are going in the robots direction already some centuries. That is modernization. That is technical progress. We were hitting, and we are hitting still toward that. And our idea to change this direction. We should not discuss about the speed of modernization, but orientation, where we are going. So now Russia is only pulling the brakes. So let us slower, not so, but this conservatism, but nothing more. But finally, we will be obliged to change direction, because there is the abyss ahead of us, and not problem slower or sooner. Sooner or later we will be there. So if we don't change direction, maybe we will be slower. We will be in delay toward the terminal station, and that is not the solution. We need to imagine something other, and that is why our spiritual heritage is so important. Russian, Turkish, Islamic, Platonic, Greek, and maybe more ancient, because they created the basics, the principles of our civilization, of our identity. We have lost it, almost, and we have lost ourselves with this identity. And in order to return to it, it is not to return to the past, but return to the being. And being is not the past. The eternity is living and fresh. So it is a kind of manifestation or revival of this spiritual dimension.
Okay. Last question. Steve Bannon. He described himself once like Leninist, and then got the very, very powerful position at the White House, right? Strategist of the White House. Then he had to resign or fired.
I have explained it for the other journalists. So I'm compared with him, with Steve Bannon, in some publications. I have appreciation of this man because I think that he is the kind of architect of Trump's victory, because he has decided to make appeal to the non-conformist silent majority of American people that was completely outside of interest of the traditional party struggle. So he was a kind of thinker, non-conformist thinker that has proposed to Trump to challenge establishment and to go in the populist, non-conformist way, not traditional Republican. So he has made a kind of ideological success of Trump, inspiring the large part of American population, normal American population, grassroots Americans, in order to mobilize them in favor of Trump. So he revolutionary potential of Bannon, because he isn't afraid, he isn't scared to come in a revolutionary way, appealing for the groups of population that normally regarded as extremists or underclass and so on. And he has suggested to Trump that he can enter in the establishment on the condition to ignore, on the fight against the establishment. That worked. That's pragmatically that worked. So why is interesting? He has visited recently Italy, and he has proposed to Italian politics exactly what I have proposed to Salvini to other. I know Matteo Salvini personally. I have invited sometime him in Moscow, so I appreciate Matteo Salvini. He has Lega, and as well I have some relations with Cinque Stelle, 5 stars. And my idea was to repeat the same, to put non-conformist right Lega, now it's called Lega, with 5 stars, in order to create a kind of government outside of political correctness, conformity, without PD. And Bannon, from his American side, has come to Italy, repeating word by word suggesting the same strategy. Not because we are in contact with him, but because we are following more or less the parallel logic of analysis. So I'm insisting as well on the creation of new kind of educational circles in Europe, an alternative to globalist circles, and I have developed fourth political theory precisely for that. And Bannon, coming to Europe, has stressed that we need new re-education of the European society and preparing new elite, because when the new powers, populist powers, come to power, they could not act because they are not prepared, because there is dominant globalist, ultra-liberal logic that stops immediately any positive possible change. So we need preparation. So I think there is a kind of real parallelism between Steve Bannon and myself. So
you're saying like he's victim of the...
Yes, he was a victim,
right?
But he is not so much marginalized as it is. By certain means, I know that he has contacts with Trump. despite of all that, and he was evicted. He was put off office, but he represents a very interesting figure, very symptomatic. And I think he is more intelligent, more revolutionary than many other American ideologues. Very precious things. We need to add action to it, because we are speaking, between us there were so many wars. Yes, it is. But there was a very interesting, very important period of 100 years. There was no war. And after that, the help of Lenin to create the modern Turkey. Yes. And that was very precious help. That it was not only that was almost decisive, I would say, in present situation. Yes. So putting all together, we should deal responsibly, not purely based on the fantasies. So that means responsibility, because the war is as well possible between any poles. But more we understand that, more we are alert towards the peace. More we evaluate peace, and so more responsible we will behave ourselves. If it is endangered, so it is a kind of value. So it is super value for us. So keeping the peace, it is act of multipolarity. It is not granted. And liberal try to destroy possibility of war. And they could achieve that only destroying the whole humanity. Because the war and the peace are two parts of human being.
Thank you very
May I
much.
last question.
Yes.
Martin Wolf, a couple of weeks ago, written an article called "Trade War is going to shape our near future," with the headline like that. What is your take on that?
I think. Please.
Pardon. All right.
Please. So the war, trade war, or soft network warfare, or diplomatic war, all that other form information war are wars. It is war with other means, and if you win, the other loses, and the other will pay for that by very serious things. So I think that we should consider the war in the global sense, including trade. So that is one of the front of the global war. So that is not something completely new or completely independent. That is the dimension of war, trade war. It is exactly, but it is not something more important, less important, the other form of war. Today, I think trade war, economic war, information war, network warfare, normal war with missiles and other weapons, all they form the new whole concept of war, where the trade is very important, but not unique and only. So it is dimension.
It's just dimension.